Good day, YouTube. This is Jay Money with Falling Forward Financial. Just an update here on Canopy Growth. I've talked about them in the past. I've been working on a bunch of MJ plays here lately. As you can see, I still have some shares of this one. Here's a look at what they've done over the last year. $14.50 along with all the other ones that ran up on February 10th, so it would have been a good time to sell out then at $52.17, and it's just been coming down since then, so a little bit over a 50% haircut since then. Here's a look at the last 3 months, down a little bit over 28%, down a little bit over 19% in the last month, and the last week it's actually up 2.89%, and here's a look at last Friday trading day. Looks like it started off and then kind of took a dip, so 1992 down to 1932. Currently at 1960, ticker CGC, Canopy Growth, and here you can see I still have 5 shares here, so I'm down almost 50%, so I've had these for a while, back when it didn't budge from this price, and I'm just kind of sitting on them so you don't lose until you sell. So that's the only time you really lose in the stock market, is when you sell for a loss, which you can see, which I'm down, but I'm just going to hang on to them. If you don't know what this one is, it's a MJ company. It's one of the bigger ones, one of the more popular ones, stable, been around since 2009. We'll go into it later with the backing of Constellation Brands. The investment that they did, I believe, was about $4 billion. Average volume of 3.03 million and a $9.68 billion market cap. Kind of some of the same analyst ratings as some of the other MJ play that I've done recently. A lot of them are at a hold. This one's currently at a 63% hold. And here's a look at earnings. So next one is coming up, available on August 6th in the pre-market. And here you can kind of see when I've bought some of mine. Looks like it started coming down. Tried to buy some $26.50 and didn't fill. So like I said, I've held these for a while, coming up on 3 years here, and looks like I bought it in at $49.60. So even higher than what it is right now, or what my cost basis is, so $26.50, but this one's been kind of up and down all over the place, but like I said, just gonna continue to hold this one. It'll come back up at some point, and so these are a minimum of a 2, probably more like a 5-year minimum hold for me, definitely a 10-year hold, and all of these for the long term. Once we get through federal legalization and all that, you should see all these continue to go up. Just don't know when the federal legalization will be. So, can Canopy Growth Stock regain its heights? One of the best stocks that I've written about in my entire career, as this person is writing about CGC. Back in the late 2016, it was trading at around $8 per share. Within 3 years, it had risen more than 600%, hitting highs of more than $48. But since reaching those highs, CGC stocks has been up more and has more up and down progression, so just like a lot of the other ones. Can we expect Canopy Growth Stock to hit those highs once more? Yes, is absolutely, and I believe it will. Not only reach the former heights, but exceed them. Therefore, delve into that. I'll recap what has happened to CGC stock over the past few years. Canopy Growth entered the scene under the leadership of Bruce Linton, who was a founder and CEO. Linton became something of a face in the MJ industry that helped propel the company to the head of the industry, where it led the massive share price growth. The prominence and borderline celebrity status with the company's ravenous approach to acquiring smaller competitors seemed like Canopy Growth would be the industry standard bearer. But then Canopy Growth started to see some stronger competition. Soon it wasn't the only household name among these companies, at least a retail investors. And so this one's been talked about, and we're trying to get everything to legal federalization on the federal level, get it all legalized. And so, like I said, I don't know when that will happen. I would give it at least 2 years. I mean, it could be 5, hopefully not, but I'm thinking 2 years, and we'll see what happens with it. But here's kind of some information on Canopy Growth. That is still a partnership with Constellation Brands, ticker STZ. They make all the Mexican type beers, the Corona, Modelo's, and so on. Partnership with one of the top alcohol producers in the world has a huge victory for Canopy Growth. This was an especially savvy deal, considering that the industry was looking at MJ infused beverages as the next big thing. And so once that kind of goes through, I think these will all kind of take off. There's some other ones. Coors, I think, is with Hexo. They're kind of doing the same thing. And so it seems they all kind of copy the marketing or the ideas, and so just kind of go from there. But we'll wait and see what happens with the stock price, and they're all going to be doing their own infused beverages in time. And so here's some more information. The first reason I remain bullish on CGC stock is the company's foundation. CGC has a huge production capacity, footholds in countries around the globe, and the ability to enter the United States market through its right to acquire acreage holdings. There's the ticker ACRHF when America federally legalizes MJ. Second reason I remain bullish on CGC stock is the company's partnership with Constellation Brands, and that's why I've always been bullish on them as well. Constellation Brands isn't going to let them go down the toilet, if you will, so they're going to hang on and make sure that this one's profitable and get the stock price back up for us. So while I may not be the biggest fan of the direction and steering of CGC, it does still have a lot of capital and influence that it can use to aid CGC stock future growth, as well as provide staying power through downturns. The third reason I'm still convinced that CGC stock is bound to regain its $48 high and even surpass it is that the MJ stock market is going faster than ever. After the huge dip that resulted from the COVID-19 pandemic, pot stocks have been rebounding nicely, while the rally has been somewhat derailed given the improving MJ marijuana or Canadian MJ market and other opportunities spanning the globe. I'd like to see the chances of the dominant stock rising well past its former glories. And so would I, so I can get my money back out of it. So we'll just have to wait and see. But Tilray stock versus Canopy Growth, which is the better long term? And so I've talked about both of these. I just did a video on Tilray a couple days ago. So the CGC was the impeachable head of the MJ industry, whether he used a market cap, notoriety, or production capacity as your metric. CGC stock was hard to top, but now its rivals are proliferating. One significant rival is Tilray, and I just did a video on them. They just did their merger, I think it was back in May, and so now it is just Tilray. So used to have shares of Freya, now it's just Tilray. But does Tilray stock have what it takes to dethrone Canopy Growth? And we will soon see what happens with both of them. So the answer to that question is yes, but if your question is whether Tilray stock is a better long-term opportunity than CGC stock, the answer is a little more complicated. You see, Tilray stock has had a recent explosion in value and attention after the company's merger with Freya. Freya stock has been a long-time focus of mine, appearing regularly in the articles, and I've talked about it for you quite a bit here on the channel. And here you can see the February 10 spike and where they all went up and all been coming down since then. So excitement around Tilray Stock at the time of the merger sent the share price soaring by more than 650%, and with a good chunk of its gains given back in the short order. Still, even with the correction, Tilray Stock has gained about 100% on the year. And so they've all kind of had some volatile times, and then they've all kind of came down after the February 10 high. Every MJ play that I've talked about has came down since February 10th. So we'll see what the rest of the year brings to these, and hope for the best. And as long as you can get some more shares and run the price back up is what my plan is to do with these. So analysts take the MJ market isn't a zero sub game. There's plenty of room for many of the MJ stocks to see tremendous gains in the next few months and years. And so again, that's why I'm in these for the long term, 2 at a bare minimum, probably more like 5 years at a minimum, and long term at a definitely 10 to get a good return back out of these. And again, this talks about Canopy Growth versus Aurora. I would definitely go with Canopy, but again, I don't give tax, legal, or trading advice. I just did a video on Aurora, so kind of ironic, but the and we've kind of already covered some of the pandemic, how it affected almost every sector, but some of these did take off, and so we'll just wait and see what the rest of the year brings to these. And as we get closer to legalizing on the federal level, so, and then all of these are going to take off, I have no doubt in my mind, but perhaps the biggest was the merging into the Canadian players of Free and Tilray to create the new Tilray. So kind of some of the same information. Back in May, the recent acquisition of Harvest Health and Recreational by Florida TrueLeaf MJ was also a highlight. I've covered TrueLeaf on the channel here as well. But what are the 2 most popular MJ companies up this year? Aurora, like I said, I just did a video on them, has been a roller coaster ride since 2020, that is for sure. I'm totally in the red with Aurora. It's probably pissed me off here more lately than what Sundial has. So, and I've spoke about Sundial quite a few times here on the channel as well. So CGC has held its ground, but both are still unprofitable. And let's take a look at their progress this year and determine which of the 2 is a better buy. And so again, I would say CGC just because I'm down so much with Aurora, but you can leave your comments. They're always appreciated, whether they're well, any comments. We will take any comment and we'll just leave it at that. So, but here you can kind of go over some more information, and I will just stop there for a second. Feel free to pause and read over the rest. Over here to Reddit. So Sleeping Giant, and that is for sure. Sleeping Giant needs to hurry up and buy acreage. Forget waiting on the U.S. to legalize. The need for Giant News to start bringing their company on the upswing and stock evaluation back up. If they wait too long, the company is going to cost an arm and a leg. Very good point. I believe I've talked about those. Merger with Canopy Growth are being investigated, and still can't get stock twits to work. And over here to tip rings, currently at 1962. Actually got some decent ratings on this one. It's showing a hold, but we have a 41% upside to $27.70, a high of $40.59, a low of $16.71. That is, well, we'll check out Twitter here. World leading diversified MJ company with distinct brand and curated MJ varieties across the globe. There's one to need the end of the MJ bill is another part of the momentum we're seeing across the country towards the ultimate end of that prohibition. Kind of some of the same information that we already talked about. 5-pack. But that's all that I have on CGC. If you have this one, go ahead and list it in the comments along with your cost basis, any other information that you might have on this one that we can share and compare notes, and so we can all make money in the stock market together. And if you haven't smashed that like button yet, go ahead and hit that for me, as well as subscribing and hit the bell so you're notified of when the next videos drop. Again, this is J Money, Falling Forward Financial. Happy trading, happy investing, stay green. Cheers.